In contemporary China, the pursuit of academic excellence is more than a personal ambition. It is a collective enterprise woven into family duty, regional pride, and national development. Generations born after the economic reforms of the late 20th century have grown up in a society that openly equates schooling with upward mobility, and nowhere is that conviction expressed more vividly than in the extreme study culture that surrounds the two gateway examinations of the education system. The high school entrance exam, or Gaokao, determines whether a 13-year-old will attend an elite secondary institution. 3 years later, the university entrance exam, universally known as the Gaokao, allocates a finite number of coveted seats at the country's top universities. Success brings social prestige and tangible economic advantage. Failure can narrow life chances with unforgiving speed. Between those two tests unfolds a daily routine that pushes adolescents to physical and mental limits rarely seen elsewhere in the world. A typical senior high schedule in a competitive public school begins well before dawn. Dormitory supervisors ring corridor bells at 5:30, though many students set personal alarms even earlier. In the semi-dark, they perform morning drills of vocabulary or chemistry formulas while still in their bunks, repeating key points aloud because teachers insist that low-intensity recitation helps commit information to long-term memory. By 6, the campus loudspeakers broadcast inspirational slogans urging diligence and perseverance. 20 minutes later, students file downstairs for a quick communal breakfast of steamed buns, soy milk, and pickled vegetables. Conversation is minimal. Every spare second is allocated to last-minute review. Formal classes start at 6:45 and proceed in 40-minute blocks. The morning sequence is weighted towards subjects tested by national papers: mathematics, Chinese language, and English. Teachers speak rapidly, compressing textbook chapters into bullet-like key points, and students take dictation at comparable speed. There is little Socratic discussion. Instead, the prevailing pedagogy is practice makes perfect, drilled into tens of thousands of work problems. Between periods, the halls stay eerily quiet because students remain seated, using the 3-minute transition to copy projected solutions or mark errors. At 10:20, the entire school breaks for a mandated eye exercise session, during which students rotate their eyeballs and massage acupressure points around the sockets. Officially, the routine combats myopia, a rampant side effect of marathon desk time, but many teenagers continue flipping flashcards under the desk even as their hands circle their temples. The lunch break at 11:30 lasts exactly 30 minutes. Small plastic trays are wolfed down in 10, freeing the remainder for additional study. Some schools allow a brief campus walk for fresh air, but the most competitive institutions keep students indoors to minimize wasted movement. Afternoon blocks begin at 12:10 and run until 6. Science classes dominate, interspersed with timed mock exams lasting 50 minutes each. Teachers grade results in real time, handing papers back before the bell. Public display of rankings is standard. Scores for every quiz, no matter how minor, are projected on classroom screens. The rationale is absolute transparency. The effect is a perpetual leaderboard that fuels both motivation and anxiety. Students track their fluctuation in percentile points the way investors watch stock ticks, and classmates often know each other's precise position down to a decimal. Dinner is served at 6:10. On some campuses, parents or grandparents wait outside the gates, holding thermos flasks of homemade soup, believing that a taste of home provides marginal gains in concentration. Evening study hall begins at 6:45 and stretches to 10:30 or even 11. Teachers rotate through rooms like supervisors on a factory floor, ready to solve a tough calculus derivative or correct a historic date on the spot. Silence is strictly enforced, broken only by the scratch of mechanical pencils and the rustle of page turning. When the final bell rings, the exodus to dormitories resembles a slow tide rather than a burst of liberation. Many students continue memorizing political science essays while brushing their teeth. Lights out is officially at 11:30, yet smartphone flashlight study continues under covers until fatigue forces sleep. Weekend reprieve is largely symbolic. Saturday morning classes are common in private tutoring centers, known as shuexiao, literally additional school, fill Sunday afternoons with extension lessons priced at a premium. Until recently, these centers operated with little regulatory restraint, offering courses branded as Olympiad Math or Advanced English Composition that promised to lift scores by a crucial handful of points. The government's double reduction policy, introduced in 2021, curbed many of the more exploitative practices, but demand persists. Households willing to pay still find ways to secure guidance through one-on-one online tutoring or informal study groups led by star teachers moonlighting off the record. The social architecture supporting this regimen is intricate. Parents often refer to themselves only half-jokingly as nannies to the Gaokao. Middle-class families in coastal cities budget substantial portions of disposable income for supplemental education, sometimes at the cost of personal consumption. Rural families endure even steeper sacrifices. It is not uncommon for migrant workers to spend entire years away from their hometowns so that remittances can fund their child's place at a provincial boarding school. This collective investment is propelled by a widely held belief that the national exams offer the fairest pathway to mobility. Whatever unevenness exists in early schooling, the final ranking is determined by an objective scoring grid applied equally to all scripts, or so the narrative goes. Competition is sharpened by stark arithmetic. Each year, roughly 10 million candidates sit the Gaokao. The acceptance rate to top-tier universities, including Tsinghua and Peking in Beijing, Fudan and Jiaodong in Shanghai, and the University of Science and Technology in Hefei, hovers near 1%. Provincial quotas further complicate the calculus. A student from populous Henan province might need to score tens of points higher than a counterpart from sparsely populated Qinghai to secure the same place. This disparity leads to micromigrations. Households with flexible residence permits relocate to provinces with favorable ratios, renting apartments years in advance of the exams solely for local registration. Within schools, competition assumes ritual form. Monthly mock exams replicate the national paper in length and difficulty. The top scorer receives applause during Monday flag-raising ceremony, a public reward that reinforces a culture of merit measured by marks. Some institutions maintain honor boards displaying photos of alumni now attending prestigious universities. Seniors walk past these boards multiple times a day, internalizing the message that their faces will either join the gallery or fade into anonymity. Teachers themselves compete through open comparison of class averages. Principals hold ranking briefings where each homeroom's performance is dissected, and bonuses are pegged to collective results. Extreme routines reach an apex in places like Maetanchang High School in Anhui Province, often referred to as the Gaokao Factory. Every spring, thousands of external students enroll for a single 9-month sprint. Days start at 5 and end past midnight. Parents take up temporary lodgings in nearby villages to cook nutritious stews and massage cramped shoulders during 10-minute visitation windows. The school guards its record of producing high scores, and discipline is militaristic. Students caught with phones are sent home. Those whose weekly scores slide below set thresholds must sign probation agreements acknowledging they may be asked to withdraw. Despite the relentless pace, many teenagers internalize a sense of honor in the struggle. Slogans such as "Suffer now," "Succeed for life," adorn classroom walls. Teachers recount heroic tales of past cohorts who conquered adversity through sheer will. Social media amplifies success stories. Videos of provincial champions receiving bouquets on campus, parents hoisting banners proclaiming their child the pride of the county, university admission letters unboxed like precious artifacts. These scenes reinforce the idea that the Gaokao is not only an academic contest, but a rite of passage conferring moral legitimacy on those who endure it. The psychological cost is significant. Counseling services are limited, and stigma surrounding mental health issues persists. Still, stories of burnout, insomnia, or panic attacks occasionally surface on messaging platforms before being quickly eclipsed by the next exemplar of perseverance. Suicide clusters, though rare, attract national soul-searching, but seldom lead to structural change in the examination paradigm. Instead, reforms tend to focus on incremental adjustments, limiting homework volume and lower grades, banning after-school tutoring during holidays, to ease pressure without undermining the centrality of the exams. As the economy matures, critics question whether the traditional model can continue to serve innovation goals that demand creativity and teamwork. University admissions officers experiment with holistic evaluation pilots, combining Gaokao results with interviews and research essays, but such channels remain small relative to the main exam. Employers, too, are broadening their recruitment criteria to include project portfolios and extracurricular leadership. Yet, even forward-looking companies still value the Gaokao pedigree as shorthand for resilience and discipline. For many families, the examination retains an almost mythic aura, the single decisive moment capable of rewriting a family's social trajectory. The pandemic years briefly disrupted physical classroom routines, but intensified digital study culture. Live-stream lectures replaced in-person cram sessions, and virtual proctoring software monitored home exams. Some students reported that the disappearance of commuting time allowed them to extend study blocks even further, stacking recorded lessons late into the night. Others struggled with isolation and unstable internet connections that widened achievement gaps. When campuses reopened, most schools returned swiftly to traditional schedules, reaffirming the classroom's place as the arena of collective endeavor. Looking ahead, demographic shifts may bring subtle relief. Falling birth rates mean that the cohort entering high school in the early 2030s will be smaller, potentially loosening university quotas. Simultaneously, government investment in vocational pathways seeks to diversify post-secondary options beyond the academic track. Whether these developments will erode the dominance of extreme study culture remains uncertain. The ideology of educational meritocracy is deeply embedded in modern Chinese identity, a merge of Confucian reverence for learning and socialist narratives of equitable opportunity. As long as a single examination continues to arbitrate access to elite institutions, and by extension to social capital, students, parents, and teachers are likely to uphold routines that maximize points, however strenuous. The story of China's intense study culture is therefore a story of aspiration, sacrifice, and collective belief. It is sustained by millions of individual acts. A father cycling across town before dawn to deliver fresh kanji. A teacher annotating physics problem sets past midnight. A teenager repeating English idioms under a blanket when friends elsewhere are asleep. These acts knit together into a social fabric that celebrates diligence as a form of patriotism and views academic laurels as communal honor. Whether future reforms introduce more balanced pathways or technological disruption rewrites assessment entirely, the present reality remains one where the Gaokao looms like a psychological Everest, defining daily life for vast numbers of young people. Their journeys to the summit illuminate both the formidable power of collective effort and the enduring questions about well-being, creativity, and the true purpose of education in a rapidly changing world.